Hello, this video explains pattern and rhythm, the two principles of design, and I go into how they are similar and how they are different. Pattern is when elements are repeated in a predictable way. So the key word here is pattern is predictable. So if we look at the pattern on your left, this artist repeated the same exact shapes, the same exact colors. If I were to extend this up or sideways or in any direction, you would know, you could predict exactly what would come next, right? You would be able to tell. Same thing with this lemon print. The artist repeated the exact same shapes and colors, and if you were to extend this in any way, you would know exactly what comes next. So I drew a little pattern here using a blue circle and an orange triangle. So this is a very basic pattern, right? Blue circle, orange triangle, blue circle, orange triangle. You could probably guess what comes next, right? Blue circle. Exactly. That whole concept of being able to predict what comes next is what makes this a pattern. You learned this in kindergarten. This shouldn't be something new, but it's good to review this before we go into the next principle of design, which is rhythm. Okay, so rhythm is when an idea is repeated with variation. So we're still repeating something, but we're changing it a little bit each time. So if we look at this print of Marilyn Monroe, that was done by the pop artist Andy Warhol. Andy Warhol was a pop artist, which means he chose images from popular culture. That's where that name comes from, that term. And he used them in his artwork. So Marilyn Monroe was a very famous actress at the time, and he used her in his art piece. So when he created the screen print, he already created these shapes, but you can see he changed the colors with every scene. So now he's repeating something, Marilyn Monroe, but he's changing it every time. So he's adding variation with the colors. If I were to extend this up or out or in any direction, you could guess that Marilyn Monroe would probably be in the piece, but you wouldn't know exactly what colors are coming next. So it's not as predictable. Okay, same thing with this painting done by the artist Vasily Kandinsky. Vasily Kandinsky was an artist. He was from Russia, and he had the belief that art without recognizable images is kind of like music without words. Okay, so we can just take those pure elements of art, shapes, lines, colors, texture, value, all of those pure elements, and create art without making anything recognizable. So he attempted to do that. I think most of the time as humans, we look at artwork and we try to figure out, what did the artist try to represent? Is it a landscape? Is it a person? Is it an animal? Whatever. And so he's trying to kind of fight that a little bit with his pieces. So you can see in this painting here, he repeated some of the shapes, the circles, and he repeated some of the colors, but he changed them a little bit each time. So if I were to extend this in any direction, you could probably guess there would be some shapes and some circles included in the design, but it's not 100% predictable. So this piece by Vasily Kandinsky has rhythm. Okay, so here we go with a little drawing. I really strongly recommend, when you are coming up with a design that has rhythm, to choose an idea first. So the idea that I chose for this is just circles. So I'm going to draw circles, but I'm going to change them a little bit each time. Okay, so you weren't able to predict exactly what was coming next, were you? You could tell it was probably going to be a circle, but you didn't really know, was it going to be an orange circle or a blue circle, or would it be more of an oval or a large circle, right? So that's what makes this art piece have rhythm. Okay, so here we have a painting by Claude Monet of haystacks. take a minute and tell me, do you think, or decide for yourself, do you think this painting has pattern or does it have rhythm? If you were to extend this, you could probably guess there would be haystacks in the piece, but you wouldn't be 100% sure what those haystacks would look like, what colors he'd use, and what sizes he would create them with. So this piece has rhythm. So if you guessed rhythm, good job. All right, this is a print done by MC Etcher, and this is called a tessellation. These are pretty cool. You can see there's no wasted space. That either has a white goose or a blue goose in the piece. He wastes none of the space. So decide for yourself, take a minute, does this drawing by MC Etcher, does it have pattern or does it have rhythm? Okay, if I were to extend this direction, we know exactly what would come next, don't we? We could predict this. So this piece has pattern. So if you guessed pattern, good job. All right, so that is all for this video. I hope that kind of clarifies things for you and you are able to now tell the difference between pattern and rhythm.